Hi, my name is Emily.
And I'm Adam.
And we're going to be talking about budgeting. Ever feel like no matter how much you try to save, by the end of the month you're broke? You're not alone.
We're showing you a smarter way to budget, one that's practical and doesn't require you to remove any of the fun in your life.
By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to set up a budget, where to cut back, and ways to make sure you're actually growing your money. We are Nexus Research. So why do most budgets fail?
People often create budgets that are too unrealistic or too restrictive. It's like when you hop on a diet and immediately you cut out everything. You're gonna burn yourself out and you're just going to go back to those old habits.
And that is why I will not go on a diet. Budgeting should be about balance. It's providing financial freedom and also flexibility to actually enjoy your life. When it comes to budgeting, you may be thinking, where do I start? We think a great place to start is by tracking your spending.
People can often underestimate how much they're spending. An example, this could be a $5 cup of coffee every weekday. This will run you about $1,200 in a year. Does this mean that you can't go out and buy coffee anymore? No, not at all. But now that you know how much you're spending on it, you can go and find a better alternative that can help you save money.
And this applies to all kinds of expenses: subscription services, clothing, dining out. All of these things, it's more about being aware of how much you're spending. That way you can prioritize what really matters. You can decide what you want to spend more on and what you want to spend less on.
We'll be walking you guys through 3 of the most effective budgeting methods for beginners.
The first method we're going to be talking about is the 50-30-20 rule. You take your total income and 50% goes to needs, so rent, utilities, 30% goes to wants, so entertainment, hobbies, dining out, and then 20% goes to savings and debt. This method is great for beginners.
Needs and wants are going to look different for everybody, but as a general rule, your savings are going to include paying off debt ahead of time and also investing. And the really great thing about this method is that it uses percentages instead of just a flat dollar amount. So if your current goal is to save $100 a month, that might not be realistic for everybody because your income is likely not going to stay the same month over month.
An important thing to note about this method, but really all budgets in general, is it's important to put in the actual amount you spent and compare it to what you were planning to spend. Then you can see where you might want to spend a little bit more or where you might want to spend a little bit less.
So now moving on to reverse budgeting. This method is the best for people who are prioritizing building wealth and who are also confident in their current finances.
This method uses a pay yourself first mindset. Instead of saving what's left after expenses, flip the script. Treat saving like a non-negotiable bill. If your goal is to save a certain amount each month, have it automatically transferred after each payday, so you don't feel like you're losing that money and you don't end up spending it either.
So very similar to before, you're going to take your total income for the month and you're going to divide it into percentages. But now you're going to take the percent that's allocated for savings and immediately take it out first. This makes it so that you're prioritizing saving money and investing. And now after this, you can track how much you're actually spending and make any adjustments from there.
The last method we're going to touch on is zero-based budgeting. In this method, every dollar has a job. It's great for people who like control and need structure. This method is different from the other two in that the goal is to have no leftover funds.
As we mentioned at the beginning, the goal is to be able to do this without cutting out any of the fun things in your life. So now that you know how much you're spending on everything, you can prioritize those big expenses and see where you can start cutting back.
Skipping out on the daily coffee can help a little bit, but canceling a lot of unused subscriptions could help a lot. We've come up with some practical cost-cutting hacks and try to implement what works for you. The first is using credit cards for cashback or discounts and points. You spend thousands each year, and if you have a tool that saves you 2 or 3% on every purchase you make, that can really add up over time. It also helps you build a line of credit.
Meal prepping and cooking at home can be another great alternative. This doesn't mean that you have to eat the same thing or eat things that you don't like every single day, but it can be a great alternative to eating out or spending a ton of money on food.
And you learn how to cook. You can also refinance loans as interest rates cut, get a roommate or even move if possible, and look for different insurance providers or utility providers.
So budgeting isn't always just about survival, it's also about growth. You want to make sure that you're always budgeting for things like investing to grow your wealth, having an emergency fund for any unexpected expenses, and paying off your debt ahead of time, prioritizing higher interest debt. Some platforms also allow you to segment your savings, so if that option is available to you, you should definitely take advantage of it.
A budget is just a tool. It's how you use it that makes a difference.
So try out one of these budgeting methods and let us know how it goes.
Don't forget, we have links to our budgeting templates below, and make sure to check out our website and socials for more resources.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you're aware of our future content, and we've got more personal finance breakdowns coming soon.
I think that's good.